So welcome everybody to our bug user group. Today is March 22nd, and we have a guest speaker tonight for our speaker series, our spring 2020 speaker series of how to tailor Bluebeam for diverse projects. So Jeovany, is it Cantellano? Jeovany?
Yeah.
So Jeovany Cantellano is here. He's a Fresno State civil engineering graduate, so he's an alum of the Lyles College of Engineering, and he's working for Kiewit up in Northern California. And so I just want to welcome him here tonight. So hi, Jeovany. Good to
Hello.
see you.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah,
Nice
so
to be here.
we'll do a few quick just introductions here of folks that are here so that you can get to know some of the people. I don't think we have too big of a group here tonight. We may get some people coming in as you're talking, and I'll let them in. So just be aware of that. But let's do just a quick introduction of everyone here. So I'm Christy. I'm the advisor of the Bug User Group. I've been in the CM department since 2019. And so I'm actually an alum of the construction management program. I graduated back in 1993, so a little bit before you graduated. So I've been in the program teaching for a number of years and teach a lot of the core project controls classes. And one of the things that Brad Hyatt had asked me to do is start the Bluebeam user group. And so we've been working to expand this over the semesters, and we've gotten some great speakers. And so we're really grateful for all the support, especially industry like yourself and Carrie have done for our group. So that's a little bit about me. Why don't we go ahead and I'm going to introduce the leaders of the bug first, and then we can go and introduce some of the other folks that are here from other classes. So Matt, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself so Jeovany knows who you are.
Everybody, I'm Matt. I'm a sophomore, and this is my first year on the bug leadership team. So yeah.
So great, Matt. We're so glad to have you. Let's see. Liza's here. Liza, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Liza. This is my 5th year as a CM student, and I've been involved with the Bluebeam user group for about, I think, 2.5 years or 3, somewhere around there. But yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Liza. Good to see you. So Kiet, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Keith, and I've been at Fresno State for 2 years now. This is also my first year with Bug. Yeah, that's all about me.
We're glad to have you, Kiet. And Jaime, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Jaime. I'm a CM student. I'm currently in my 5th year, and I've been with Bug for like 8 months or so, and I've been learning a lot, so I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you, Jaime. Let me see who else is here from our team. Let's see. I think I caught everybody. And Carrie,
My name is Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. Daniel, why don't you introduce yourself? Sorry.
Hi, everyone. My second year transferring into Fresno State, first semester in Bug.
Okay, great, Daniel. Your audio cut out just a little bit, but Daniel, this is his first semester in Bug, and so we're really glad to have him. So Carrie, you know, you did a little introduction here. There may be a few people from our students that don't know you, and Jeovany, maybe you could tell him and share a little bit about maybe your role and maybe what you're doing at Querying as well.
Okay, yeah, so excuse me, for those of you who don't know, I'm Kerry Rentz. I'm a project manager with Querying General in Fresno. I've been there for about coming up, I think, 8 years now. Currently working, closing out a animal shelter for the city of Fresno and in pre-con for a behavioral health facility down in Bakersfield for the county of Kern right now. So yeah, my role as PM, just anything and everything, whatever it takes. Use Bluebeam a lot, so I've been part of the group for, I want to say, almost since the beginning. So yeah, so definitely an advocate.
Well,
for
we're
this.
really grateful to have you, Carrie. So I'm so glad that you showed up here, especially when they're kind of in a different industry sector. It's nice to get a variety of people here for sure tonight. So thanks so much.
I'll be in the background taking secret notes on
Secret
Jeovany.
of heavy civil work for
Yeah,
your
exactly.
project. Well, good to have you here. So I think I'm going to turn it over to Jeovany. So Jeovany, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then maybe you could also tell us a little bit about Kiewit. Just, I'm sure I remember seeing your presentation about Kiewit in general, what your role is, and the other thing I wanted to ask you, is it okay if would you rather have everybody wait to ask you questions till the end, or is it okay if they jump in and ask you questions as you go along?
Whichever, right? It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, whichever, it's fine.
Okay, and I'll try and field the questions. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, ask the question, mute yourself back, or you can post it in the chat, and then Matt or I will try and catch those questions. Okay, so we're going to turn it over to Jeovany. So welcome, Jeovany. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen if that's okay. I will
Sure.
go ahead and I'll go ahead and just kind of dive into it. Here we go. You guys can see that, right?
No.
Oh no? Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Huh?
Try again.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, again, my name is Jeovany, and I've been with Kiewit since February of 2020, and I did graduate from Fresno State in December of 2020. So I'm sorry, I started with Kiewit in 2021. So, and the cool thing about that is, I remember I went to a career fair, and Kiewit was a part of the career fair. It was back in October. I listened to the presentation. I really, enjoyed what they had to say. I had it in my resume and then just kind of say, well, hey, I'm studying civil engineering, but I really like what these guys do, and I just kind of see what that would take me. And literally within a couple of weeks, they gave me they emailed me. They said they were interested and they want to interview me. 3 interviews later, I landed the job. I had something lined up for me ready to go in November, and I graduated, and I was like, all right, I just have a few more months to just kind of relax and, take some vacation, and, I'll start working in February of the following year. And yeah, sure enough. So it's definitely really nice. Kiewit is definitely a different sort of pace. It's definitely a little bit of a higher pace, but I feel like you really do learn a lot. Pretty much, I think so my first week was just training, and then week 2 they pretty much said, well, I think you're ready for you're ready for a project. I was like, okay, sure, why not? And I think the very first project I was on was actually on this project called Anderson Dam, where essentially it was just this huge tunnel they wanted to excavate. It was like through the dam. It was some sort of tunnel system. And they already signed me different bid items. They said, well, all right, well, you just kind of look for them and just, estimate it and just ask questions as you go. I said, sure. It was I think it was $250 million project. And, it was pretty big, but hey, I definitely learned a lot. So let me see if I can just, let's see if I could just, here we go. All right, so just a little bit more about Kiewit itself. It's pretty much one of the largest construction and engineering firms in North America, and they have different offices throughout America and throughout the world actually. And they actually have an office out in Canada. And as a matter of fact, I will be transferring to Canada in about 3 weeks. So they have a project out there, and they requested some help from people up here in NorCal. And I said, hey, I want to go. I want to see what that's like. And they said, okay, sure. they sent me some paperwork to begin signing the process, and I'll be out there in a couple weeks. So hey, I'm excited for that. So they definitely so Q would definitely invest a lot of their efforts in different sorts of fields, whether it be in oil, transportation, water, infrastructure, and especially as of lately in our office, we've been getting a lot of wastewater treatment plants where they've been built in the 60s or something, and they're just in desperate need of improvement. So we've been taking on a lot of wastewater treatment plants of various sizes. It could be from 30 million up to $250 million, and it's all a little different as you go. You kind of get used to seeing, oh, okay, I remember I've done this in the past, and I know how this sort of rate would typically take for this sort of trench or whatever it may be. But it's really nice. And let's see here. So that is currently, you guys can see that, correct?
Yeah, we could see it.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so I am currently working in the NorCal office, which is located in Fairfield. Fairfield is just pretty much 20 minutes outside of the bay. And luckily they did recently open up another office in Sacramento. So I moved from the bay out to Sacramento, well, Roseville, but pretty much to Sacramento. And I'm currently working in the Sacramento office, and it cut down my commute time and definitely cut down the payment. But anyways, so our office definitely focuses on engineering, design, build, or construction, self-perform. I believe back in 2020, the company has revenued, I think it was $400 million in just 2020. And the NorCal office pretty much just builds some of the largest and most significant projects throughout Northern California or wherever it may be. Very diverse market. Again, it's a very diverse market. And one thing that I did learn about Kiewit is it's got a very work hard, play hard kind of mentality. And Kiewit shoots for high standards, high excellence, and that's something they really strive for. And it's something you really learn as you go. You become very prideful of you put so much pride in your work when you're doing takeoffs, and you go through reviews and you show your boss, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I learned, and this is what I think it's going to cost. And you just pretty much, you think of any sort of question they're going to ask you, and you already have it backed up with documentation or passcodes or whatever. And I actually had a review earlier today on a project that I'm currently working on here in Sacramento. And I already knew my boss was going to ask me at least 3 different questions, and I already had the documentation backed up. And they're like, "Oh, well, did you check this sort of spec?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, I did. I have it right here." And so it's definitely a lot of work hard, play hard, just keeping up sort of thing. Just a small video.
Hi, my name's Eli. I'm the engineer here at Hellhole Dam Core Raise 2019, second season. We mobilized back in June, and we are wrapping up now here in October. Did about 25,000 yards of excavation and embankment. Did it in about 14,000 man hours and with 0 incidents. Just about wrapped up and looking forward to coming back next season.
Hi, my name's Tom Severite. I'm the master mechanic up here at Hellhole Core Raise. I'm my second season here. Been having a really good time up here in the mountains where I belong. We've got a really good group of guys working up here. We've had up to 25 people at our peak. One thing about working here is you've got to be nice and versatile and fill a lot of hats. So I get to be mechanic and campground host and chief of logistics and supply. And everybody just pulls their weight, and we're motoring on through. Looking forward to coming back again next year and finishing up.
I'm Adam McNutt, project manager up here at Hellhole. It's my second season up here. So the job's for Placer County Water Agency. Contract amounts going to be about $12 million. And as a job, we're going to be about 60% complete through the end of this season. Just wrapping up and demobilizing. The job team, we had Eli Swick was our engineer, Lester Smith, our superintendent, and so pretty small crew out here. A couple interns at the beginning of the year, and also want to thank Louise Pies and Darren Shelby, the sponsors that helped us out up here as well. And had a good season, good year, and looking forward to getting back out here next year.
I'm Nick Johnson. I'm out here on the SM 101 project. We're located in San Mateo, California. Out here, we're just putting up some new fast track expressways and a new medium barrier wall. Kiewit self-perform work includes demo, drainage, putting in drainage systems, and setting K-rail. And we also do our own traffic control, which is pretty unique for this job. We're about 75% complete to date. We're starting to ramp up for we just won the North contract, which is a much bigger portion of work. So we're starting to move all the K-rail from this South contract up to the North contract. So we're wrapping things up on this Southern contract.
Hi, I'm Bobby Browning, subcontract superintendent. On this job, we deal with a majority of subcontract work. We've got Coral installing CIDH piles and overhead sign structures, Vanguard doing 12,000 feet of barrier, and Tennyson doing nearly 150,000 feet of conduit. So we're wrapping up our subcontract work on this phase. On the next phase, we get to enjoy new opportunities with our new subcontractors. See you around on the next phase in the northern segment.
Yeah, so it's pretty nice when you get sent out on a project. You know, you come back with, you know, a lot of things that you learned and new knowledge, and when you come back into the office, you're able to apply it on another estimate. You're able to see, well, when I was on this sort of project, you know, we were able to put down conduit at a certain rate, maybe, I don't know, just to throw out a number, 35.6, you know, per day or whatever it may be. And we were just, you know, we dug maybe about 3 feet down and we backfilled it at a certain rate. And you just come back with this knowledge. So you become much more confident when you put together estimates and you present it to your manager and you present it to the area manager and the district manager before you submit your bid. So on another project that I didn't necessarily help estimate, but I was there for a lot of project walks. It was out in San Jose, and it's called the San Jose Headworks, and it's still currently under construction. So if you go out to San Jose and you pass by, oh, I don't remember the name of the freeway off the top of my head, maybe the 580, or yeah, is it the 580? And you just pass by a wastewater treatment plant, smells like poop, and that's the one. You'll definitely know. And it's pretty nice. Let me see. They are currently, here we go. So this is actually one of the open cuts that they did out there just to fit this massive pipe. I believe it spans 108 inches in diameter. It's this huge massive pipe that they need to run through the treatment plant. And as you can see, they excavated at an open cut, and sometimes if they do straight cuts, and I'll show you in another couple slides, if they do straight cuts, then they do shoring. But in this case, it was just an open cut, and I believe it was 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, and and of course they have their ladders placed for safety. Let's see here, just another picture there. There we go. You can see off to the right, you know, the pipe there. Another picture there. It's another precast pipe.
And
Here we go.
Jeovany,
Yeah.
that looks like it's down off maybe the 680 and the 101 area, maybe.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah, I think it is that one.
Yeah, it looks by because I did a lot of work in the Bay Area, like you're down in Milpitas, down in that area. And so I'm curious on this job, do you remember if they were up in the hills or down near the bay and they had water issues?
No, I don't know. It wasn't in the hills. It was,
Okay.
yeah, it was I remember it was close. It was very close to the freeway. I think it was off the
Okay.
680. Yeah, I believe it was that one. I just remember driving by and immediately I just I just got struck with that smell of
Yeah,
fish.
you
Holy
just
shit.
know.
Yeah, and we get there, you just smell it, but you kind of get used to it, you know. You kind of walk around, you forget you even smell it. Just you just get used
Right.
to it. But but yeah, I believe it was that one. Um, no, and this picture, this is just more of a straight cut. And the reason why, they did a straight cut here was just there just wasn't room to do this large open cut. So there wasn't any room and they had to do it pretty much just a straight cut, but you don't want the dirt collapsing on the inside. So you use shoring, some sort of timber lagging, whether it be, wood or metal plating or whatever sort of material we have in the yard. It gets designed by an in-house engineer, it gets approved, and away they go and they construct it. And you can see the pipes that are running perpendicular to the shoring system, and they're pretty much just being supported. That's all. You can't have the pipes just hanging there, and otherwise they'll just collapse and just cause issues. So you just need to support them. See, just another image there, and another image there too. Yeah, it's a whole nother feeling when you're down in when you're down in the trench. It's I cannot lie to you. You do feel a bit intimidated. You're like, oh shit, I hope this thing holds up. But hey, it's been designed, correctly, and it's reinforced pretty damn well. So it's not going anywhere. So okay, so that's the end of that. Let's see if I can show you. Can you guys see that one?
Yes, it switched over to blue beam.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So here's actually another project that I helped estimate. And fortunately, we also won this one too. This is pretty much an extension of the BART. And hopefully you guys are familiar with the BART system out in the Bay. It's just this huge underground train system that transports your commuters, around the Bay Area. And so the part that we help, or the part that I helped bid or estimate, was an extension from Milpitas and then over up to the West Portal, up to Santa Clara. I believe that was a 5 mile long stretch, if I'm not mistaken, if not less. But regardless, it was just this huge underground tunneling operation. A lot of right of way permitting and legal issues, but fortunately I only they only allowed me. They basically just they gave me the responsibility of bidding all or estimating all the conwood and this metal piping that would be throughout this whole entire tunnel system. So if we're short on pipe, it's gonna be on me. But hey, I'm confident in my work. And so let's see here.
And Jeovany, go back
Yeah.
there. So it looks like, I don't know if any of you are familiar, but I was telling Jeovany before we came on that actually back in, it was probably in the late 1990s, I worked on the VTA, the light rail. So what they're trying to do is connect the light rail with the heavy rail. So BART is considered a heavy rail project and the VTA is a light rail project. And they were never connected between Fremont and San Jose. And so I remember starting the environmental master scheduling for that particular project, and they're just now starting work on it. So you can imagine how long that takes. But it looks like if you're familiar with the downtown area, I'm seeing 13th Street mid-tunnel facility. So this looks like it's going right down through the middle. You can see all the little squares, and it looks like it's going right down through the middle of downtown San Jose.
Yeah. And there was actually like these spots that here in red, a lot of these are just buildings that were on top that had to get demoed. Maybe because of the piping that was running underneath or its foundation, and they had to be demoed, or they're gonna be demoed. So yeah, so
And
which
so
actually,
all this is underground, right, Giovanni?
yeah,
Okay.
it's all this is underground except for maybe I believe it was here in the West Portal. It shoots back above ground,
Okay.
and I think in this portion, I believe in this area too, it's above ground and then it finally goes underground.
And
And
then are they connecting to the light rail system or are they connecting to Caltrain, do you know?
Uh, that I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to ask.
Yeah,
Um,
it's probably if it's a VTA project, they're probably connecting somehow to one of the stations there.
right,
And
right.
then the VTA takes them to Caltrain because I think Caltrain's a different transportation agency, and it sounds like
Uh-huh.
you're working on the VTA and the BART.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. So yeah, I'd have to ask my civil lead because yeah, he was more in tune with like like the overall picture of the project. I still had some trouble here and there understanding some aspects, but essentially it was just this huge um tunneling project.
Mhm.
So
And you're just starting that, right?
yeah, yeah, we were actually so the companies that actually bid for this project was us, Kiewit, and we were in partnership with a couple other construction companies, and especially on a project this massive, like we had to do a partnership. I don't remember which companies we partnered up with, but the other competitors that we were going up against were companies out in Europe. So there was one
Mhm.
out in Europe, and I believe another one out in Italy. So we were up against companies, foreign companies, and fortunately, we submitted our bid and we won the project. It was a huge success for Kiewit. And construction will begin next year, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Yeah, and some of you may want to, if you're interested in heavy civil work, I want to say that the tunneling machine, they used to call them the Big Bertha, but you might want to look it up. I don't know if that's what they're using or not, if Kiewit's going to use that, but it's quite the machine that, bores through underground like that. So it's
Yeah,
definitely something to see.
yeah. So once this project vamps up, they're gonna need field engineers to go out to the bay, and um, help support the project. So,
And it'll be a
hey,
long-term project because
oh, definitely.
I remember working on it when I was fairly new out of school. So it's going to be a very long-term project, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a long-term project. And maybe somebody might say, well, I don't want to go out to the bay. It's just too expensive. And Kiewit, they give you like what is it? A pay raise. So they give you a pay bump. They call it a pay bay. So it's your normal check plus maybe like another grand on top of that, or some sort of package to help compensate. Um, how much or tell kind of compensate the prices out there, but it's a very very nice package. So once this project comes up, and if they ask who wants to go, shoot, I'm going, but we'll see. Let's see, and here's just kind of a sectional view of what the project. I pretty much help estimate all these pipes, the conduits and the pipes running throughout this whole tunneling system, and different sections depending on what station you were at. It was just that sort of a deal. Let's see if I have.
I was going to say, go to that last tunnel view that you had. It looks like they're running on top of one another.
Yeah. So in different sections, eventually they gradually cross over, and then
Mm.
they go back. Um,
And I'm sure all this is seismically retrofitted.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, especially out there. Oh,
I
shoot.
know. I'm like, oh, can you imagine being in that tunnel?
Whew, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll gladly be outside and help with whatever they need, but I
Yeah.
don't know. But, Yeah, so they have different sectional views, and let me see. we have- Oh, this is a massive page, so hopefully it loads up. So I pretty much stitched the drawings together in each station and have an idea of what sort of the cross sections will look like. And depending on what station from what station was running, it was, 10 sticks of conwood running throughout the length, or maybe it was jumped to 20 sticks of conwood, depending on what they needed. Here's another view, some of the cross sections where it gradually begins to turn.
Oh,
to make it like this.
interesting.
Yeah. And let's see. Or yeah, here there's another one. They gradually begin to stack on top of one another.
Okay, just wait here. Wait on one of those just so that we can see a little bit
Yes,
more. Like
sorry.
zoom in. Yeah, no, I was gonna say just zoom in here for a second. Let us look at what all this is. So
So they have fiber optic, spare conduit, just maybe for lighting, sort of miscellaneous conduit sizes, power, tunnel dampers, just a variety of
and
different.
it looks like the stairwell in the center. I'm
Mhm.
assuming that is like a maintenance shaft or something that they have in there.
Yeah, essentially,
Mhm.
yeah, and basically had this sort of maintenance shaft running through the tunneling system, and so that was carried through. And they also had in others, I think they also had sumps too. And this picture, it's not shown, but in other areas they have different sumps. Let me see.
What you mean, like a sump pump to pump out the water? Is that
Yeah,
what
it
you're
was
talking about?
yeah, it was like something of that nature. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have this one here. Here's another passage.
Yeah.
Yeah, different conduits, and then also they had hand railing too at different stations. So whenever they would have stations, the hand railings were placed there too.
And so
See.
some of the stations, I'm just thinking that in downtown San Francisco, in the
Mhm,
city, the stations are underground, and then they usually ride the escalators up.
mhm. Yeah. So a lot of the stations were actually, yeah, I think all these stations were pretty much just underground, and they would create another system for uh was it for people to ride down underground and then
Uh-huh.
jump on the system, the bar system.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it was quite a
And
bit of work. I was
and
like,
go back to you said that the lines were up there, you had color coded them, it looks like. Maybe it
oh
was
yeah.
on a different sheet.
Oh, it's here. It's here on the same sheet,
Oh,
just
there it is. Yeah, over to the
yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So when you took this off, maybe you could describe a little bit. I know last semester we've been trying to incorporate at least like one heavy civil contractor in our talks, and we had Tykert come in, and I don't know if you knew Wes Mueller. He was, I think, graduated around the same time that you did, but he was CM.
Hmm.
But he kind of shared, the stationing aspect and taking it off, and so I would imagine the stationing for like, a highway or a road is going to be is similar in the stationing that you would have for a heavy civil project.
Yeah. Essentially, it's the same thing. Each station's 100 feet,
Hmm.
and yeah, so it essentially just be so it'll be the same. It'll be a similar
Hmm.
process for that sort of thing. Unfortunately, this drawing is not scaled, so if I were to try to measure it, it wouldn't make sense. I would have to pull out the actual drawings and actually scale it from there. And
Hmm.
but yeah, it was just it was definitely nice to kind of color code the system. That way, when I was able to present it to my discipline lead or the area manager or the district manager, they were able to see um, the different the different sectional views, or yeah, the different sectional views for each section. So here there was only maybe 14 conduits, and maybe it was 5-inch pipes or 5-inch PVC pipes, schedule 80, and maybe in the next section it kind of shortened down to just 10 PVC pipes, so schedule 80, or the diameter changed, or that sort of thing. It was just to help kind of keep track of all these different quantities and different linear footages.
Do you know what the elevation change is that they're going down, how far they're going down from the grade?
I would have to see the profile view. If I believe it was somewhere in the realm of, I think it was somewhere around 20, 30 feet. I'd have to check the profile view back on that,
Mm-hmm.
but it was relatively deep, because eventually they do end up stacking on top of each other. So I'd imagine it being a very deep.
And it's going to be interesting because down in that area, the water table is so high. So when they tunnel, I don't know if you had heard, what they plan to do, but I think the water table is pretty high. So they're probably
Yeah.
going to hit water as they go under San Jose.
Oh, definitely. So I definitely, definitely a dewatering system was definitely put into the estimate. I can only imagine how much water they'd have to pump
Yeah.
out and try to keep out of that tunneling system. But
What's the
yeah.
diameter on a tunnel like that?
Let's
I don't think
see.
it says on here.
I don't think so. Here. Measure across, because this is about 16 feet. Imagine another 16. I would say relatively in the ballpark of 40 feet across,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there, about 40 feet across in diameter.
It's tight, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you
can't go.
start putting train cars in there, it gets tight real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You can't go too far wide, and then you just need more right of way and more demolition work. It just spikes up the price for the whole project.
And I'm looking at this picture here, and it looks like you've got, I think it's T platform, the tunnel platform.
Mhm.
So I think that probably is near one of the stations.
Yeah. So whenever we'd have platform, it would just be approaching a station for
Mhm.
people to,
And I
to
wonder
board.
if they did this where they did it on, the double decker stacking for the stationing, and then they go back to going side by side when, they're in between stations.
And it
So
begins
that
to.
so they can bring in the people, the pedestrians, or the riders or whatever. Because you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to have a platform for them to walk out on if you didn't do a double decker
No.
like that.
No, right, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
very interesting.
yeah, there's definitely a lot more to this, but it's just pretty much broken down into as simple as I can try to
Right.
explain it. Yeah, but let's see. Yeah, do you guys have any specific questions about the BART project? Maybe I can try to answer it, or even the San Jose project. Because after that, I might move on to some blue beam tips for you guys.
Would the wall of the tunnels be like shotcrete, or what would those be made out of?
Yeah, I believe in this sort of system, they went with shotcrete. They did have another estimator. I don't even think he was a NorCal estimator. He was in another district who had maybe 10 years above me, and yeah, I think they had two of them actually, and they took care of like they estimated the tunneling system and the concrete work, all the concrete work that was going to be involved in the system. And I believe they did say it was going to be shotcrete, um, especially for something like this. They believe they did go with shotcrete.
Go up to the top of the tunnel. Because it looked like at the very, yeah, go down a little bit. It said that it was precast segmental tunnel lining. So it looks
Yeah,
like they probably bring it in pieces too.
yeah. So they had like I believe it was like an outer shell. It was like an outer shell system, and it was precasted, and then I think they wanted to sandwich it in the middle, if
Mm,
I'm not mistaken.
mhm. Now I have a curiosity question if you've heard of this, Giovanni. This is
Sure.
at the other end of the bay, but I don't know if any of you have ridden BART around the bay, but from what I've heard for many years, there's the tube, the Transbay tube that goes underneath the water over from Oakland to San Francisco.
Mhm.
And I know for a number of years, they've tried to do some conference calling to try and figure out like how they would go about starting a project like that. But the Transbay tube, if any of you've done that from Oakland over to San Francisco, from what I've heard, is out of compliance with seismic regulations. And so at some point here, they're going to have to probably bring in like a Kiewit, and actually redo that Transbay tube. Have you heard anything about that, Giovanni?
I have not
Okay.
heard of that actually,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't doubt it though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of an old system, our infrastructure. And I think, if you stay with Kiewit, you're probably going to hear this, that our infrastructure, is very outdated. And so there's a lot of things that need to be upgraded. And so,
Mhm.
it's just like we're kind of a ticking time bomb here.
Oh yeah.
But the BART is one of those, especially from Oakland to San Francisco. So you're going to see, I would say, if you're interested in going to the Bay Area, you're going to see a lot of this work probably. And it's an ongoing thing that keeps kind of renewing itself, and they'll last for years at a time, these jobs.
Oh yeah, definitely. They span out for
Mhm.
quite some time. So
But you've got to like it, because I don't know if they've told you this, Giovanni, and it's probably good that you're kind of going and trying something different too up in Canada.
uh-huh.
That sometimes when you're on rail work, or if you do say prison work or stuff like that, that you sometimes can get pigeonholed in just doing rail work, because they're
Mm,
long-term projects and they can go on forever, and you
mhm.
can actually make a career out of just staying on this type of a capital type project.
Right. Yeah. I think that actually happened to one of my colleagues. He was just they had him on what is it, highway projects. I think that was his first project out, just doing a highway project, and ever since then they just put him on highway projects because he
Oh,
was,
okay, yeah.
yeah, very well experienced with it. And I mean, plus he liked it. So
Hmm.
anytime there was a highway project, they would always ask him, and he would always say yes. So I think he's actually down in LA right now working on one.
And Giovanni, what are you going to be doing up in Canada?
I was just informed maybe about 2 weeks ago if I wanted to go, but they just said, there isn't details, but we have work out there for you guys, and if you like to go.
Oh.
And I just kind of heard recently again that it's actually going to be some sort of pipeline project.
Mm.
So it's going to be a pipeline project out in Hope, which is about 2 hours east of Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You'll like it up there.
I heard it's very beautiful out there.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, but it'll be a little chillier than the Bay Area, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think so. Basically, the project's going to span from, I believe, mid-April up until November 20th, and it's going to be a dead stop on November 20th. Regardless if we finish or if we don't finish, it's going to be a dead stop, and just going to send everybody home. And then if we have to, then we'll resume next season.
I see. Okay, so it's short term for the first part of it, huh?
Yeah. And that's actually one of the big reasons why I jumped on it, because it was pretty much essentially a short-term project. And I was like, well, hey, just a few months out there, why not?
Yeah.
So thought I'd give it a go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
So you guys
Um,
have any other questions for Jeovany? This is a really, I mean, to see these kinds of plans is very interesting. I would say a lot of times you don't see these in our classes, so it's quite interesting for sure.
yeah, these are real plans.
Yeah.
There's another project that I'm currently working on, which essentially is just a project out in Sacramento. Um, we just want to build a intake system just to kind of help prevent flooding. There's out by the Sacramento River,
Mm-hmm.
and here's like an intake system, and maybe here's like a basic takeoff, or they want to trench from a control building all the way down to to a fish passage, which is essentially about 3,000 feet. Yeah, 3,100 feet. And here's just the typical detail. And it'd be nice also to kind of color code the system, so your compacted backfill is 2 feet, 2 feet in height, and 1.5 feet wide. And your CLSM backfill, which is essentially just it's like a slurry sort of concrete mix. It's very liquidy, and it's easy to move around. You typically throw that with your conwood. And maybe I'll put that blue. And you have your pipes there. And you're able to pull it out. So whenever you quantify this, you're able to say, okay, your trench is gonna run 1.5 feet wide, 1 foot tall. It's gonna span for this length, 3,100 feet. But then you want to take out the pipe, because it's gonna be considered a void. So you don't want to over quantify either. So to take out your void, it's a 4-inch diameter. You just multiply by your area, so pi r squared, and then you multiply by the length, and you have a cubic footage, or you convert it to cubic yards, and you pull out your void, and there you go. You have your full quantity. That's a good way of doing it. And that's one thing that I've learned too, is just kind of color code your guys' system, color code like different areas. This is an area that's going to be disturbed, so you want to color it, whatever color you want. Or like this, that way it's a little more clear when you present it. And also just helps you kind of keep track of everything. Another thing that's good too is flags. Make sure you use flags. It's very important. So if they want to know where's all your duck bank now, okay, well I already flagged it. Here it is. Here's my duck bank mark. You just kind of need to walk through it, and just
so wait, hold on one second, Jeovany. So I'm curious about this. So those flags. So it looks like you use that looks like a little flag icon. And so you're just, why would you do that? Just so that you're grouping like a certain area?
Yeah, so it's good. They're pretty much like they're pretty much bookmarks. They're just
I
so
see.
basically, yeah. So whenever you're presenting with these with drawings, they can span 100 pages, not 500 pages or 800 pages, and you want to be able to keep track of where you marked up and where you estimate all your work. So it's good to add these flags. So you just kind of click this icon up here in the corner, and you can just place it there, and you can just type what you want, duck bank.
So it's almost like using little sticky tabs on a book.
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
I see what you're saying. And then
Exactly.
that color will be the color of the duck bank that you take off then.
Yeah, yeah, and then plus the tags too. You can also change its properties too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are super familiar with Bluebeam, but you essentially just kind of just right click it and just hover down to properties, and then you just change your fill color,
Mm-hmm.
duck bank. So whenever you click on your flags, it's easy to spot
Right.
duck bank. And so whenever someone asks you, okay, well, how did you come up with this quantity? Well, shoot, pull out your drawings, click on your flag. There you go. It just makes the process a lot easier.
And will those flags get grouped together in your drawer?
Will they get grouped together?
Yeah, down at the bottom when you have your markup, I always call it the bottom drawer. That's not what it's called, but it's if you click on, let me see, in the bottom corner there on the left-hand side, it looks like, yeah. If you
Mhm.
click on your markups,
Uh-huh.
as long as you're highlighting it in that color, it'll show all your duck bank as aqua, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
if I click here, here's this aqua color.
Mm-hmm.
Or yeah, if I were to change, yeah, it'd probably be best if I change this color here, change it to that aqua color.
Mm-hmm.
So you can spot it here.
Easily, I see.
Yeah, duck
So,
bank
so you'd
there.
want to make your bookmark and your actual color coding of what you're taking off the same color, and then it'll show up in the markup.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
would help too. That would really
Mhm.
help too, actually. And another thing that's also important, so on projects where you just have a bunch of pipelines just running through, it just looks like a rat's nest.
Mhm.
I've had those projects too, where it's just pipes running up and down different areas, heights and depths. They just cross over each other. It's almost a mess. It's important to also there we go. Let's see, bookmarks, layers. It's really important to throw it in layers. So yeah, let me. So if I wanted to add a layer, let's just say this is, just call it 4-inch conwood. So I'll highlight it. So once you have it, marked up, I'll just highlight it, right click it, and hover over down to layers, and just click on 4-inch conwood. So if I had more pipes running through, I'll just pick my 4-inch conwoods that are running through, highlight those, right click again, just drop it in your layer. So you're able to easily turn it on and off. So when you're presenting your work, if someone just tells you, oh, where's all your 4-inch conwood at? You just turn on your layer and there it is. So that way you just highlight your whole page and you would have you would only display your 4-inch conwood. Or if you had 3-inch, and then same procedure. So throwing your stuff into different layers is also very useful too.
So you could do the same thing on a building too. So
Yeah.
say maybe you have different types of flooring, you could take off all the ceramic tile and make that a layer, and then you could take off
Mhm.
all the VCT and make that a layer. So it can be transferred from heavy civil to buildings too.
Yep. That's exactly right. You can do that too. It can be pipes, it can be buildings, structures, concrete, whatever you like. Throw it into different layers, and it just helps keep. It just helps. One, it helps keep your sanity, and then two, it just helps easily display the work that you want to display out for someone else, and also for yourself too. It just
Mhm.
helps keep everything in check. So it's definitely important. See if there's any other tips I can think of. Flagging, layers, colors. Maybe one last thing. So when you're presented, when you're presenting your drawings, And let's just say, okay, I only want pages or it's just my duck bank work. So let's just say it's just this one and this one out of a whole documentation of 300 pages. So I would just click here on my thumbnails. So I'll click there. And then just to highlight different pages, I'm gonna hold Control on your keyboard to click different pages. So these two are highlighted right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do right click and then extract pages. Just hit OK. Yeah, whatever name you like, save it. And there you go. Now you only have the pages that are just on what you're on, just on what exactly you want. So if someone were to say, hey, I need your takeoff for all your concrete work, you just extract the pages where you have all your concrete work taken off, and you're able to send that file away on an email, or it just makes it easier.
Mm-hmm.
So now you just have your pages where you have that specific scope of work. So yeah, is there any questions you guys may have? Maybe tips or projects or anything of that nature?
Is there a way to
Go ahead, Matt.
is there a way to get something to appear in more than one layer, or could it only appear in one layer?
I think it can only appear in one layer, because I think
You'd have to take it
Yeah.
off almost twice, I think, to have it appear in the second layer.
Yeah, I believe so. Because that would be useful too, because sometimes maybe you're not looking for a specific diameter size of a pipe, and you're just maybe looking for a specific material of pipe. And well, hey, I mean, that can fall in two separate layers. So yeah, essentially what Christy's saying, you'd have to pretty much take it off twice. And then you can drop it in. Then you can drop that same line into two different layers. Because otherwise the system would just get confused and think you're talking about one layer over another or something.
Do you guys use any other applications besides Bluebeam for takeoff, or do you guys pretty much just stick to Bluebeam?
So Bloom is definitely a big tool that we use. But if you're familiar with AutoCAD or Civil 3D or this other program, Revit, we also use Revit too. Trying to think, Excel. I mean, it's a basic one, but we use a lot of Excel. Yeah, I would say those are pretty much the heavy hitter programs that we use. But if you're familiar with other programs and it could somehow you can somehow implement it and help with takeoffs, and numbers match up, then hey, go for it. So
What was that third one that you named?
Revit.
You said, no, oh, I'm sorry. The second one, it was like heavy something.
Civil CD, I think. Civil.
Yeah, so Civil 3D or AutoCAD, they're pretty much the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah.
Heard about that one. Cool.
Yeah. Civil 3D is more used in civil engineering, and then AutoCAD is more of like mechanical engineering, but you can essentially use the same thing, because all these drawings, they're drawn up on programs like Civil 3D or AutoCAD.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to get your hands on the actual file, then you can just click on the links and it automatically tells you how long it is. And so
Jeovany,
sure.
Alejandro that just asked you the question, he's working out. Tell him where you're working, Alejandro. He's working for Tykert. Alejandro. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm working for Tiger right now on the 99 in Fresno.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Pretty cool job. Maybe not as big as the one you're on, but
No, hey, it's still a massive project. It's still something. It's still a lot of work.
Yeah, I think is that Alejandro, is that 99 job on the right of way for the high-speed rail? Or is it Highway 99?
So we're in the Caltrans right away and the city right away. and our portion of work doesn't really dip into the high-speed rail, but we're like right on the edge of it.
Okay.
So like I think it's Tudor Perini. They're like their yard's like right next to our project.
Okay. So you're working actually on 99 then. So you're not doing like a grade separation or anything for the high speed rail.
No. So yeah, it's just gonna be 99. We're joint ventured with NCN. They're gonna be putting up an overcrossing over the 99, and then we're building up all the dirt. We're putting in all the drainage utilities. We're paving. The work, the usual.
Yeah, it's a good experience. Alejandro, do you have an internship or are you just actually working for them?
I'm like a full-time intern year round.
Full-time intern, yeah. So, and he's in our
So basically, it's like,
say that last part again.
So basically, it's slave project engineer, but just cracking a joke.
Okay, so it sounds like he's a project engineer. I think your internet's kind of shaky out there, but we could hear what you're saying. They just had a site visit, Jeovany, out on his job. And so there was probably about 20 students that got to go out and look at the dirt work and stuff. So it was a good experience for the students to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely very exciting once you get to go out there on your first site visit. It's definitely really nice.
So I'm curious, Jeovany, where did you learn Bluebeam? On the job or?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, because there wasn't Bluebeam before when you graduated. We didn't have this group. So I'm like, where did you learn it?
Nope, on the job.
Yeah, so you didn't take any training classes or anything? You just learned it, huh?
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. So do you have some tips? Do you use the Bluebeam videos? There's a lot of Bluebeam videos and stuff that you can watch.
Yeah. There is plenty of videos out there. If especially early on, I wasn't really familiar with it at all. So I just essentially just asked my coworkers, and a lot of the tips that I learned were just, tips that I learned from coworkers. They just kind of pass it on to me, or just kind of you live and you learn. I didn't put any layers, so whenever it came to reviews, shoot, I was lost with my own work. So it's definitely I definitely learned on the job. That's for sure. Yeah.
That's good though, Jeovany. And you've given us a few things that we haven't seen before. Like we've not seen the flagging before, and so that's very helpful. I know. I also advise our ABC team, which is our building construction team, and so that flagging can actually be very helpful. Like I mentioned, doing a takeoff for a building project as well as a heavy civil.
ABC is the American Builder Contractors, right?
Associated Builders. Kiet, are you here? You may not have. Matt, what is it? It's Associated Builders.
It's Association of Builders and Contractors.
Builders and Contractors. That's right. It's been a long day. I've been teaching all day. So
right. Okay. And do you guys do competitions or no?
Yes, they have a competition usually out of state. We didn't go this year because COVID had acted up. So
right.
Yeah.
I actually participated in one of those competitions, I think in 2018. I believe.
Really? For ABC?
Yeah. It was a project in Long Beach.
Okay. Well, that's great. So you've had some building work too.
It was, that was definitely a huge learning process. Yeah.
Right. Our students are working on a little hotel right now. And so we're kind of in the middle of taking off the site work and the concrete and stuff. And so these little tips definitely help for sure.
Okay. Oh, okay. See, it's for hotel, concrete work, maybe some grading work too.
Yes.
Shoot, man. Okay. I should have put down some different tips then. There's to give you profile views, there's some tips too on that. Taking off concrete, there's definitely easy ways to do that too. Oh man, I wish I would have prepared for that. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's okay. You didn't know. We didn't say, but if you want to come in and help us on Thursday nights, you can come in and help us. I don't know what you're doing. But yeah. Yeah, but we can always give you a call and see if maybe you'll come in and give us some tips here and there at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can-
And I have a question for you. So they would, maybe you could tell the students kind of uh, you graduated with a civil engineering degree, and so it sounds like you're an engineer now at Kiewit. What is the trajectory in Kiewit, for kind of working your way up the ladder? So obviously you're probably you've started out as an engineer. So what's the next step from an engineer?
So that varies. So if you essentially just prefer to stay in the office,
Uh-huh.
and they'll jump you titles, engineer 1 and then engineer 2, and then they can jump you to maybe a lead or something, assistant lead or something. But if you're out on projects, then they'll have you as either a field engineer, which when I was I was actually a field engineer for a very small project out in Yuba City, which is maybe about 30 minutes north of Sacramento. It was maybe about a 6-week long project, but it was a very, very quick paced project. It was a very quick turnaround. And they had me as civil and mechanical field engineer. So any sort of civil and mechanical work that they had out there, I was pretty much the support for the team. But if uh, if I were to jump levels, then they'll have me as a superintendent. So between the field engineer up to a next position out in the field, it would be a superintendent. But of course, that takes on more responsibility, bigger pay, but hey, more responsibility.
Right. And as an engineer, more like in the office, where do you go from there? Do they call them project managers at Kiewit, or is it something else?
Uh, I just know it goes from engineer 1 to engineer 2, and I believe after that, I'm not exactly sure. I know eventually you can jump to lead. And if you want to go up to more like management sort of roles, I think you have to go through a discipline lead first. And then if you want something higher than that, then you can jump up to more of a manager type role. I've never really asked about that sort of role. So that's actually a good question I should ask too. And maybe I can give you guys an answer later.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's kind of two paths in the company.
Yeah.
I see. And are you thinking about staying more office or going out into the field?
I like both. I don't know. Maybe the field, because when I'm out in the field, it's a different experience.
Mhm.
When you're out in the office, it's definitely nice, right? But I would say maybe the field. So I could definitely see myself growing more in the field sort of aspect.
Mhm. Right now you're just learning. So you've been out of school how long? A year?
Yeah, a year and 3 months now.
Okay. Yeah. And how many jobs have you been on in that year and 3 months?
Full-time 1, and more of a sort of part-time 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So the full-time one, it was so if you're out on a project full-time, they pay for your hotel. And so if it's pretty much, if it goes beyond, I think 45 minutes, I'm not really sure. I think it's more than like an hour commute, and they just pay for your hotel and you just stay there. Or they
see.
pay for like an apartment or something.
I
Yeah.
see. And so they pay for all that, and then you go home on the weekends, or how does
Yeah,
it work?
yeah,
Okay.
you can go home on the weekends, or you can just stay there. One of my coworkers, he's out working on. So the project that I was on was phase 1, and we finished that, and now I'm back in estimating. And one of my other coworkers, they sent him out there for phase 2, and he's pretty much just staying in a hotel. He had the option to go into an apartment, but he just chose the hotel. And he works Monday through Friday, and then Saturday mornings a little, maybe just to catch up on work. But pretty much on the weekends, he has time to either just go back to his family or stay there,
I see.
or have his family come up, whichever option.
So do you guys have any other questions, curiosities of Jeovany that you want to ask him?
Anything comes to mind?
Anything? Especially those of you, how many of you, maybe by raise of hands, are interested in going into heavy civil work? Just raise your hand here. Tomas? No heavy civil? Oh, Alejandro here, Gerardo. Gerardo, where do you work? I think you work as an intern as well, huh?
Yeah, I work with the city of Fresno right now, so I'm on the owner side for now. But I've been more on the construction side, so on that side of it. But right now I'm exploring the owner side. Seeing it's a little bit different, but still kind of engaged in the heavy civil world.
Mm-hmm. Very good, Gerardo. Yeah. So, and I would say, one of the things that we're thinking about doing, Jeovany, and it's kind of in the future, is having specializations within our construction management program as seniors, so that we can get experience working on either heavy building projects or heavy civil projects. So that's kind of where we're headed on the construction management side. Because we have, I would say it's probably, this may not be reflective because we've got some students from even outside of AEC here tonight, but it's probably, pretty well split, half and half, but maybe more. Yeah, so Alejandro's saying, yes, that would be a great thing for the program. Yeah, so I'm on the curriculum committee that is working on some of the core curriculum right now. And so we're looking at down the road, actually, when we get to our what we call our CM 150 and 151 classes, is actually having some labs where we're actually working on specific types of projects. So whether it's heavy building or heavy civil. And so that's kind of the trajectory here, maybe next academic year or shortly thereafter. So some of you that are in this session here, you might be able to gain some experience with that as you finish up your senior year. So it's coming for sure. Okay, any other questions? I don't know if Carrie's still on here. Carrie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just working away in the background.
Hey, listening.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this guy, huh?
I mean, it sounds like he's got it figured out. I mean,
yeah, he's got some really good experience here. And
I remember living in the Bay Area, just dreaming whenever the BART extension is going to go out to Livermore, wondering if he's got any inside track on that one.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that it ends, I want to say at Concord, right?
It ends at like Dublin.
Livermore.
So the Dublin Pleasanton station.
Yeah, Dublin Pleasanton.
And then there's been in development design for expansion to Livermore for, I don't know, 20 plus years now.
I know, isn't that crazy, Carrie? I mean, that's why I say this tunnel from Fremont to San Jose, literally, it's been my whole career that I think they've been working on that. It just takes so long. So
I used to live out in the East Bay, and I was always waiting for that, but one day maybe. I think they just put in the express lane instead and just charge it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, this is interesting because I did do some master scheduling work on the high-speed rail, and they basically could have put a kibosh on the the whole job's kind of got a kibosh on it, but they stopped the connectors for the high-speed rail. So the high-speed rail was supposed to go over to San Jose and hook up through Pacheco over to probably where they're going to do this tunneling project, but they stopped that. I don't know if they'll restart it because, there's a shift in politics here, which happens. But, right now we've got the rail to nowhere going on. But these projects, these rail projects, this is something that I think is really important. And, you're going to be off of that one, Jeovany, but the rail projects are really great, especially in, I would say, kind of uncertain, economic times, because they last for so long and they're going to continue working on it, so they're kind of a stable job. They look very interesting, but really it's the same line going on and on and on. But so once you know it, after you've been there like 2 or 3 years, it's like, oh, the same thing over and over and over. But they can last forever, so, and it's really exciting. I would say if any of you have the opportunity to get on this job with Kiewit for the tunnel, that will be a very, very good job probably to get on, because it's kind of like landmark work, you don't often do tunnels, and to have that on your resume, especially if you're a heavy civil person, would be really good. So
yeah, some of those bigger tunnels are definitely a huge deal. Cool.
Yeah. And
I'm actually curious if Giovanni's got any Hyperloop drawings that are floating around over at Kiewit.
He might not be able to tell you that.
Okay. Proprietary, I guess. Right?
Probably.
I think that was a little interesting. You gotta have a vacuum and suck the air out of that one in order for that to work, if I remember right. So,
Yeah, we really, this is something that, probably a lot of bigger, heavy civil contractors are talking about. Our infrastructure is really in need of a jump start, and I know they've been talking about that here in this administration, but I don't know if it'll get going or not. But hopefully, it does, because like I said, the BART is so old, it's really not seismically retrofitted in some places. And so if we don't start doing that and investing in that, as you guys know, I'm in Wyoming where the roads are really smooth and nice, but you go down 99 and it's like a pothole every 10 feet. So, you look at that and it's, we need to invest in our infrastructure. And so when you look at companies like Kiewit or DeSilva Gates or Tykert or Granite, and they're trying to do that work, it's really important work, and we need more of it. So
yeah, definitely
sure.
important. Definitely important.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in interning for Kiewit or looking for a full-time position, summer's coming up, so definitely would be a great opportunity, to take on some work. So
and Giovanny, you would know this. Do they? And I'll be honest, I don't know. Does Kiewit have a Fresno office, or is it all out of Fairfield with Dustin?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a Fresno office. So you can either go north, which would be in Fairfield, or you can go down south. It's somewhere in LA, I believe, San Fernando Valley, somewhere in that sort of area. Yeah. So.
And how would they go about getting an internship? Just maybe interviewing on campus, or how would you suggest?
on campus, or let me see if I can send a link. Let's see here. It's either through career fairs, because we Kiewit usually participates in career fairs and try to grab as many students as we can. So that'll definitely be one way. And then the other way,
I think you guys do a company presentation too, right? Each semester?
Yeah. That's true. I believe we're gonna do another one soon.
Okay.
Have another info session. I will go ahead and try to find that link. I believe it's like a scan code, and students can just take a picture of it and they just fill it out, and we'll have it in our system. I'll probably I'll look for it and I'll send it to you when I can, and maybe you can just forward it out to your students. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to ask you about, and we had Turner come and talk to us about SoFi Stadium. I don't know if you've heard anything about Kiewit's involvement in SoFi Stadium or not down south. But supposedly, Kiewit was one of their largest subcontractors on the SoFi Stadium, you know, where the Super Bowl was at. They did the dirt work at the SoFi Stadium. And I guess that, who was it that I was talking to today? Maybe it was Jay. I think it was Jay here that's with us. But I guess Turner is going to be doing the Clippers Stadium here again. And so I was wondering if Kiewit was going to be doing the dirt work for the Clippers Stadium.
I'll have to check our project list.
Yeah, yeah, because I would say, you know, if you guys are interested in, you know, getting a good internship and you're interested in heavy civil, like getting an internship and going, say, and working on that tunnel project in the Bay Area for a little bit, or going and working on the Clipper Stadium if Kiewit is on that job, those kinds of jobs are like invaluable, you know, because they're what we consider landmark projects, both for building and, you know, heavy civil construction.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys, you know, to get an internship too, I mean, if maybe you don't want to work, maybe you want to work outside of California, that's definitely always an option too. Because I believe during the fall semester, we had an intern who was from Florida. So she wanted to see what California was like, and she got an internship up in Northern California. So it could be different. You know, they could be different areas. So we have districts throughout, you know,
right,
North America. So.
And you're just in North America. You're not overseas too.
Let's see. So I know it's North America, Canada. I believe Mexico too. We have offices in Mexico too. We used to have Australia, but I think those were closed maybe a number of years ago.
Okay.
That's what I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I saw all the places in North America. You could pretty much go anywhere you want if you wanted
definitely.
to.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
The East Coast too. That's always an option too, going out to the East Coast.
Yeah. I want to say Cameron Fernandez. Or no, Cameron Hernandez. I was like, Cameron that works for Kiewit. He was a graduate of the CE program as well with a CM minor.
Oh.
You might know
Cameron, yeah. Did he graduate recently?
Yeah, fairly recently, but I want to say they had him out in Florida or something, and then he's now up in Washington. Yeah. You should ask Dustin to connect with him because he's a graduate of the same program and really, really sharp guy too, you know, and nice person. So he works at the same company there. So
yeah, I feel like I know who you're talking about because there was a Cameron Fernandez, or that sounds very familiar. He graduated the same year I did, and I know he interned for Kiewit a number of times.
Yes.
And now he's up in Washington. I feel like we're talking about the same. I feel like it's the same one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might want to connect with him, reach out and email him, Jeovany, because I think he'd be a great person to keep in contact with as you're going through Kiewit.
I think I have him on LinkedIn actually.
Yeah. Okay, anything else, you guys? We really thank you, Jeovany. You know, it's nice to see someone that is close to the students, you know, that are going through the programs, you know, whether it's CE or CM program, because it inspires them. I think they can see, you know, where you're at and it's relatable. So we really appreciate you coming and talking with us, and hopefully you can come back again soon after you've gotten a few more projects under your belt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just give me a holler and I'll be more than glad to come back.
Yeah, we'd love to have you for sure. Okay, anything else, you guys? Okay, well, thank you so much, Jeovany.
All right.
And
well, thank you.
We'll definitely keep in touch. And if you hear anything about like internships, feel free to shoot me an email, or you can even shoot our office an email. That would be great too.
Yeah, definitely. Will do. Christy,
Okay.
will do.
Okay.
Good job, man.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Gary.
Congratulations. Sounds like you're really succeeding over there. So very happy for you.
Man, appreciate. I'm trying.
Well, thanks you guys. You have a good evening, and we'll have probably a speaker here, possibly from Queering, if they are still available in a few weeks. So we'll
Now we
see.
just booked up the whole time while he was talking.
I know. So we'll see all of you very soon. You guys have a great evening.
Cool.
Bye. Thanks, Carrie,
Thank
for
you.
coming.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
All right, bye guys. Thank you for the time.
Bye. See you guys. Bye, Jay. Thanks a lot, Giovanni.
Yeah, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no
Having me on.
problem. I'm going to shut off the recording here.